Nikita, ఇదేంటి నెట్ సింబల్ వస్తలేదు? Hi Suresh, hi Nani. Can you give confirmation? Are you able to hear me? Yeah, okay, bro. Okay. Yeah, in last session, what we discussed, just I will give quick recap. We got a long gap here. Yeah, I remembered in last class, first we created second view. Just we rendered a template second.html. After that, we went to models. Here in models.py, we will write our, we will define our database tables. If this is, I'm setting it as a user data, that means it's table as a user data table. This table having 4 columns: username, email, phone number, address. We will inherit this user data class with the models.model, where this is a generic thing. In Django, they have created some framework. Django is a framework, right? They are handling all behind SQL part in models module. So you don't need to worry. Just you will write Python class and you will define some class variables. This class is referred to one table in your database, and this each class variable refer as a column in your database table. Okay, after that, we have to run two commands: Python manage.py make migrations that will convert Python code into SQL code. After that, you have to execute that converted SQL code. For that, we have a command Python manage.py migrate. These two commands are necessary. You have to know difference between these two. Make migrations is it's convert Python code into SQL code, and migrate command is responsible to execute that SQL code. That means it's going to create tables in your database. Okay. Yeah. After that, I explained about Django admin panel, how to log into admin panel, and what were the default classes there. Just a minute, I will show.
Hello, Prasad.
Yeah, Nani, చెప్పు. Okay. I didn't share, I think. Yeah. Sorry. Yep. I think now you are able to see my screen. Yeah, this is models.py. Here we have user data class. This is referred as a table, and this is inherited from models.model. These are Django models, where Django is already taking care about your database stuff. Just you will define one class, and you will define a class variables as a columns. After this, you have to run two commands. As I told, Python manage.py migrate, make migrations. After that, migrate. These two commands will finish your migrations, like you're creating your database stuff. After that, I went to admin.py. Just you will import those classes to admin.py from your models, and you will register those classes. Admin.site.register is a method where you will pass your table, maybe your class, or you can call it as a table. Then that class will appear in admin panel. Just a minute, I'll show that. Yeah, this is the admin panel of this project where we created marks and a user data table. I think already I showed how to add data to the table. Now I'm not going to do that. In last class, we missed the one thing, like we're supposed to do with MySQL, but I didn't get that password, so I went with SQLite. Anyway, today I'm going to use Postgres SQL. That MySQL is still not working for me. I reinstalled and uninstalling and reinstalling. Again, it's not working. Again, it's asking for same password. So what I did, I'm going with Postgres SQL. Before that, I'll show something here in Postgres SQL. Just give me 1 minute. Now I'm in command line. Now I'm going to log into Postgres SQL. Yes. One thing, like if you observe here, these are settings for Postgres or MySQL or Oracle. These settings are same. One thing will change here, engine, database engine will change. For MySQL, Django.db.backends.mysql will be there. Whatever we kept Postgres SQL here, right? For MySQL, you will keep MySQL. For Oracle, you will keep Oracle here. Remaining all things same. Like port will be changed, and the username, password, database names will be based on your that is your choice. You can make your own choice there. But these things, engine will be changed for every flavor. Like MySQL one setting, Postgres one engine, and Oracle one engine. You have to change this engine. Okay. Before uncommenting this, I want to create this database inside Postgres. I have to create one database. That name I will give here. After that, remaining Postgres is common, password is root, it's running in localhost, port number is 5432. These all are so depends on your own, whatever the user you have created, you will give that username. The password, whichever you given while installing, you will give that password here. So what I will do now, I'll show this Postgres thing. To list all your database, just /l. It will show all your databases here. Template 0, template 1, WebDB, test database. These all are databases. If you're aware of basics of SQL, you'll get to know what I'm telling. These are databases. Now we are going to create one new database. Create database PSDB. I'm creating one database with the name of PSDB. /l. Yeah, I got PSDB here. Now I want to use this PSDB. For that, command is /c. In MySQL or SQL, you will say use your database, use PSDB you will give, but here /c PSDB. Now you are connected to database PSDB. Now I want to see all tables inside this database. Did not find any relation. Why? Because this is an empty database. Till now I didn't create any tables here. Only this stuff you will do in PSQL, just creating your database. Remaining all things you will do from your Django project only. You don't create any tables here. You don't execute any query here. Just log into your database, that may be MySQL, Oracle, PSQL, whatever it may be. Just create one database. Just check for this thing like whatever the tables inside. Obviously, that is a new database. There won't be no tables there. So just you will create one database. You will take the database name PSDB, and you will give here that PSDB your database name PSDB. User Postgres, password root, localhost 5432. These all depends on your requirements. Like if you taken your user as a something root, user may be root in some situations. Password also root. These all are common settings. Now what I am going to do, I'm commenting this SQLite section, and I'm uncommenting this Postgres SQL section. Just I'm saving this. Now my Django application, this web project, is running with Postgres SQL backend. Previously it was SQLite 3. Now I changed it to Postgres SQL. Just go to command line and then see here. Here it's telling you have 20 unapplied migrations. Why? Because your database is empty. You don't have any tables inside your database. That's why it's telling you have 20 unapplied migrations. If you see this line, you have 20 unapplied migrations or some number here. Just you have to run this command python manage.py migrate. Means already you have SQL code, you have tables in your code, but you don't created tables in your database, actual database. For that reason, it's showing this message. You have 20 unapplied migrations. Your project may not work properly until you apply the migrations. That means you have to execute some SQL query in your database. Just simply execute python manage.py migrate. Why? Because just now I created PSDB. Inside this PSDB, no tables. That's why it's telling you have unapplied migrations. Now what I will do, when I got this error, what I have to do, I know that. So I'm running this command python manage.py migrate. Sorry, spelling mistake. Yeah, we got applying auth, admin. These all are Django default migrations till here sessions. After that, we have web app 1 initial, web app 02, web app 03. These all are our application migrations. These all are default Django migrations. These three are our application migrations. So it's telling applied migrations. So now I'll start my server. Okay. Anyway, before that, I'll check my database one more time. Last time I was looking for tables. It was telling 1 minute. I'll maximize this. This command slash dt is to look your tables. In SQL, you will enter show tables command. It was telling did not find any relations. Now I will enter this. Yeah, it's given a list of relations. List of relations means these are tables only. Web app 1 marks. This is our application name. Web app 1 underscore marks. Web app 1 underscore user data. If you observe here in our models.py, we have user data and marks. These two tables we can see here prefix with application name. Why? Because in your, for suppose you have a big Django project, there will be a multiple applications inside your project. So there may be a chance of recurring name. For suppose you have user data here in different application. For suppose you have e-commerce project, you have different profiles, you have different sections. You may get situation like you want get two tables with same name, user data and user data, or in some situations we have token, you have to store some tokens inside your application. For that you will create a table with the token with the name of token. If this is a web inside web app 1, web app 1 underscore token, you will get that name. For suppose the token table inside your web application 2, you will get web app 2 underscore token. Like that prefix you will get for your table. That is default Django behavior. You cannot change that. Web app 1 underscore marks, web app 1 underscore user data. Now let's see what's inside these tables. Web app 1 underscore marks. Just I'm describing this table. In SQL, you will enter describe your table name. Here it's telling ID, integer, username, marks. Just we will verify with our thing username and marks. We have only two columns here. Why? Because ID thing is default thing. You don't create ID table like primary key in your Django. Django defaultly will take care about your primary key things. You have username and marks. So these two columns are appearing here. In same way, I will go for user data. ID, username, email, phone number, address. Username, email, phone number, address. These four class variables become a columns here. Slash d means nothing but there is a describing a table. Slash d your table name. That will show your columns and what types of data you are going to store inside this column, like this. Just remember one thing, in SQL, just you will log in here and you will create your database. In my case, I created PSDB. Okay, only that thing you will do in maybe in SQL or PostgreSQL or in Oracle. Just you will create your database. You will take this database name and you will keep this settings.py. That's it. You no need to log into again PostgreSQL. Just I want to show this to you, like how we are generating MySQL tables, how we are creating tables. When you applied migrate command, these tables are created by Django. Like Django will execute, Django will log into this database. Why? Because we already given this username password. For suppose just I'm giving wrong password here, root 123 I will give. Just I will save this. It's going to throw an error, password authentication failed. If database is not able to connect with Django, it won't start a server. Directly it will going to throw an error. You cannot up your application until when you give correct password. If your password is wrong, then it won't run your server. Definitely you have to give your username, password, and correct. Then only you can use your application. Just you will give username, password, and your database name. That's it. This Django application already connected to your database. Whenever you executed migrate command, Django will going to execute those SQL query into your database. You no need to worry about that. Yeah, this is a story of creating database and combining your database with your application. For remaining flavors, just you have to change this settings.py, this section only. Here engine will be changed. Here you will get, instead of PostgreSQL, you will get Oracle MySQL. Remaining all depends on your software port number and the password, username. That's up to your choice. You can change any number of databases. Yeah. Now we'll going for next topic, form section. Why? Because we are building web application. Wherever you use web application, collecting information from user will be done by forms. We have some concept here in Django. We have Django forms, how to create a form and how to collect the data from user using that form. What are the different types of forms we have? Today we are going to discuss those form section. Defaultly, you will get models.py, views.py, and urls.py, but you don't get forms.py. For that, you have to create forms.py on your own. Forms.py. Just I'm creating one Python file inside my application that called forms.py. From Django, import forms. In same way, how we deal with models. In same way, we will create one class. For suppose we want to collect user data, so I'm naming it as a user data form. I'm inheriting this class with forms class, forms dot form. Inside forms, you will be having all fields here. How we defined our models.py. In same way, we are here in models.py. We define one class, right? This is one table in your database. Here we are going to inherit forms.form class to our class, whatever the user data form we are taking. So for suppose I want to create a one form where I want to take user data. Here I created one table for storing user data. Now I have to collect user data from user. Then only they will we can call it as a application, right? We don't run select or create executing queries in MySQL. Everything should be done by programmatically, like how we use web application. In that way, we have to deal. For that, I'll create one form. This form is responsible to take this information. We need username, email, phone number, address. These four things we have to take from user, right? For that reason, I'm creating one form, and I'm naming it as a user data form. In same way, how we deal with models, like how we define our data types in model. In same way, in forms.py, we'll do same like only same like that. Forms dot integer field forms dot char field. Yeah, okay. In forms.py, I imported a forms module from Django, and I created one class. Its name as a user data form. It inherited from forms.form. Then I created four class variables: username, email, phone number, address. Till now, fine. You don't have any confusion here, right? I inherited forms.form and I created user data form class, and I have four class variables. Okay, now I'm going to use this form. Lead is def user. I'm creating one more view here. It's called user request. Before that, I will import my form here from dot forms import. Sorry guys. User data form. I did from forms.py. I imported this user data form to views.py. Just see here. Previously, I was returning only template, right? Now, return render request. Inside this, I'm keeping my form JSON here. Here, I will create one class object form equal to user data form. Just I imported my class to views.py. I created one user data form object, and now I'm passing this form object to, I'm keeping inside this template, inside this JSON node, or maybe you can call it as a dictionary in Python. I'm sending this dictionary to user as a response. Don't worry if you didn't understand for the first time, don't worry. We're going to discuss this in projects, how we deal. When you're seeing for the first time, you may get confusion, but don't worry. Previously, we were returning request and our template name. Now I am returning request as well as I'm sending one dictionary. Inside this dictionary, I kept form object here. That's a simple story. I created one form object, and I'm returning that form object to the template. Now, how I am going to use this object in template, that's a different story. I will tell now. Just wait a minute. User data.html. I don't have this template inside my template directory. Now I have to create this template. User data.html. This is a procedure. Like whenever you're creating a new view, you have to create one new template. You have to create one new URL. User data.html. Inside this, 1 minute. I'll make it as a HTML template. After that, we will get some boilerplate code. This is the boilerplate code for HTML, where we will get all our tags here: head tag, body tag, and HTML tag. Now I'm going to change it as a Django template. Yeah, inside this body, I'll keep form as a variable like this. I will define inside this double dictionary. Like just I open two curly brackets and I close two curly brackets. Inside that, I kept form. Just wait and see what will happen. This is a user data.html, right? Now what I did, have created forms.py file. Why I am doing this means have to collect user information through a web application. Django is to build web application, right? We are going to build one web application where user can store his username, email, phone, address like this. Already backend part we have created our tables and we have connected to database, but we have to take input from user. For that reason, have created one class inheriting from forms. Just assume we cannot call it as a, it is a class, but you can say it as a form. Why? Because we are building this class to create a form, right? You can say it as a user data form or user data form, or you can say user form. Like you can say like this, but basically it is a class which is inherited from forms module. Okay, you can call it as a user data form as well. No issues. After that, I went for a view. Here, I created one a new view user. It's accepting a request as an argument. Now I initiated one my form object. I'm passing that form object to the user. Okay. Till this, render request and user data.html. These things, But one new thing is happening here. We are passing one dictionary to the user. Okay. That is the new thing here. After that, I went to templates. In templates, I created user data.html. Why? Because I'm passing that template here. If it is not there, definitely it's going to throw an error. So I created one user data.html. Now I want to write URLs for this. We got some error here. Just let me look into this. Join argument must be str bytes, not dict. Just see, just I'm changing this configuration. Yeah, if you observe here, I got four input field: username, email, phone number, address. But this is not what I'm expecting. Just why? Because you don't see any form like this in any web application, like horizontal fields. This should be one by one, one after one. For that, in user data.html, if you observe here, I created one HTML template with user data.html. Inside this, in double dictionaries, I kept form, right. This code is called Jinja2 code. This is used by Django. Wait for a minute, I will explain that as well. Yeah, we got form fields one by one. For that, here from views, we are passing one dictionary, right? Inside this dictionary, we have one key form. Inside this key, we have form object. Inside this form object, we have these class variables, right? Username, email, phone number, address. Here, Django will use Jinja2 code. That's called that is a separate language, template language. It's called a markup language, Jinja2 markup language. Form dot generally, if you define form, you will get form, but you have to get in a different format. For that reason, I given form dot as p. So we got one by one form columns. I'll show Jinja2 syntax. This is a new thing in Django. Whenever you are learning Django, definitely you have to learn this Jinja2. Don't worry about this. Just this is not required. This is a old one, but all now Django is already included with the Jinja2. This is about Flask. 1 minute. There was a one website. I didn't remember that name. Yeah, from here, Django template language will start. It's called Jinja2 language. Inside this, variable are surrounded by double curly brackets. Like to open two curly brackets and close two curly brackets. Inside this, you have to keep your variable. Here, in my case, I'm passing dictionary. In my view, if you observe here, inside this form inside dictionary, I kept form as a key. For that, I'm passing form as a value. In template, I'm using this form as a variable. Just I will define two open brackets and the two close curly brackets. Inside this, I will keep form variable. Then this Jinja2 template will convert into HTML code, and it will create a form like this. Why we are using this means, for suppose you have a big HTML file, you cannot write HTML in Python like this. You cannot inject HTML code using Python to your HTML template. It's possible, we can do that, but you don't get style, and a lot of issues will be there. For that reason, Django people, they decided to use Jinja 2, their simple language, where we will pass our objects. If you observe here, I'm passing user data form object to the template. Inside this object, we have some class variables. That is a different story. But here, my intention is I want a form to enter data. So I created this form and I am passing to the template. I will use this form key to display that form in my template. This is mandatory. If you comment this, if you remove this, you don't get that form here. Yeah. If you observe here, I'll restart this. It's gone. Why? Because I removed form section there. Behind the scenes, we are passing a Python object to the HTML template. We are keeping that object in a Jinja 2 code, where Jinja 2 code will convert into HTML code. If you observe here, I will show source code of these 4 fields. See, input type equal to text for username. Then I'll go for email, input type equal to email. Why? Because I defined data type in my forms.py. If you observe here, for email, I given forms.email field. That's why I'm getting input type equal to email here. Then I given for phone number, I given forms.integer field. Forms.integer field, I defined my data type here. That data type you can see here, input type equal to number. In this way, you will create your forms and you will take input from user, and that input will come into these views. Like user will get this form from views, and you will get return data to these views. From views, you will take decision whether you have to store that data in database, or you have to throw an error. Because in some situations, you are expecting username here, you are expecting email in an email format, but email is not in a good format. He is sending some malicious data, or he is sending dot 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 at the rate email, dot 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 at the rate email.com he is sending. In that situation, we don't store that data in database. Here, in generally, what will happen means, for this user view, you will get 2 calls. One is to render this template, where you will display form. He will enter data and he will submit that data to the server. Then you will get that data here inside this user request only. There you will take a decision whether you have to store the data in database, or you have to throw an error to the user. Based on your pre-requirement, you will do that. Before that, I want to explain HTTP methods. Then only you can write, you can save data to the database. Just a minute. HTTP request methods. These are the common HTTP methods. This is not in Django. These are generalized methods. If you are using Node.js or PHP or Ruby on Rails, these are the methods where we will use get method to extract the information from server. If you observe here in my situation, I'm getting this form from server. That means I'm getting data from server. For that reason, this request should be a get method. We have different types of methods here. Post method means we will send data to the server, where for suppose yes, for suppose I want to write some article here. Here I will type my all article details and I will post here. I'll click on post. That means I'm sending data to the server. For that reason, whenever you want to send data to the server, you have to use post method. Then we have delete method to delete data from server. Put method is used to update the data in server. For suppose you ordered an item in Amazon, but you forgot to mention some address details, or maybe you given wrong address. You have to update that address. For that, already you have given address. Just you are updating that. In that situation, you will use put method. We have head method as well, same as a get, but transfers the status line and header section. We will discuss these things later. First, just focus on get method. Get is used to require getting data from the server. Yeah, Nani, tell me any question. If you have any question, just let me know. Yeah, yeah, okay. These called HTTP methods. These are generalized methods. These methods are not related to Django. These methods are related to backend things, where when you're dealing with backend frameworks, you will get these methods. Get to get information from the server. Post where you're sending your data to the server. Put where you're updating your information. Delete to delete already existing information from server. These options trace, forgot about this now. Just we're mainly focusing on get, post, and put delete. So inside this request object, we have one thing, request dot method. Sorry. Just I'm printing this. Just we will verify this. What's happening here? Printing request method. When we will get call for this function, when user entered this view URL in a browser, we will get call for this function, user function. Then this print statement will be executed. After that, remaining things will be executed. Just now I'm going to do that right now. If you observe here, get printing request method, like get, we got get from request dot method. Oh, maybe you get confusion here. Just I will remove this. I'll print only request dot method. I'm printing inside this request argument. We have one method, that method name called method only. It will indicate which method is that. Method is get method or post method or delete method. Here we have different types of methods, right? In HTTP we have different types of methods: get, post, put, delete. Based on these methods, you will take decision. This is get method means you will send an empty form. If that is a post method, you will take data from that user. You are expecting data from user, and you will save that data in a database. I think I'm making sense here. Inside this request dot method, there will be a method already defined there. Just yeah, I'll keep here. Otherwise, I'll start my server one more. Yeah, it started. Now I will reload this page. Yeah, we are getting here, right? It's stating that get method. That means we have to send information. That's why we are sending form here. We are not expecting any information from the user. So what we'll do here, if request dot method I created one if condition here. If request dot method equal to get, send this form to the user. Why? Because we have to give resources to the user. If this is a get method, he is expecting something from server. So if it is a post method, else print request dot method. Just I will try one more time. Everything is working or not. Loading. Yeah, it's working. Without issue, we are able to see this form. Now, in our request, get part is completed. Why? Because we are fetching form from our server. Now, user will enter some data here like this: email, phone number. He will enter phone number like this and address. He need one submit button here. After that, he will click on submit button. We will get this data. Whatever data he entered, we'll get that data in a post method. For that reason, we have to change something here in user data.html. We have to define one form class, form tag. It will call as a tag. As of now, forgot about the CSRF token. I will explain this in upcoming sessions. Just I want to show how data is coming to server and how we can store that data to the database. My main intention is that if you want to build web applications, at least you should know basics of HTML. Like this is head tag where you will store your metadata. Here you will name it as a user info. You will see this name on your page top window where, for suppose previously it was document. Now I changed it as a user info. Now it is showing as a user info. This called title or document name or title name. After that, head tag is closed. Value name. No, here value I'm giving submit. That will appear as a submit. Okay. It's a spelling mistake. Value. Yeah. After that, your body part where your HTML body, where you have forms or you have other paragraphs, you will keep all your data inside your body. Inside body, I'm keeping one form class. Inside this form, we have CSRF token. I will explain this in later sessions. As of now, I don't want to make it complex. This already I told, right? Jinja to template code, where this means there's a form as a variable. I kept this as a P. We have different things here. Form as a table we can use. Just wait 1 minute. Form as a table. We can give as a paragraph, we can give as a table. Now we are going with paragraph. We need this form one by one. For that reason, I kept this. I got submit button here. This will submit data to the server. See, please fill out this field. It's raising an exception here. Without uh, entering data, you cannot submit. Just we will do this. Username, I'm passing as a username. I'm not giving any username here. Just I will give Prasad. If you observe here, it's stating please include an @ in the email address. Is missing an @ Why? Because it's an email. So it's expecting email @ in your input. Phone number here, we will enter some numbers randomly, and after that, okay, we entered some data, and now I am trying to submit this data to the server. What will happen? See, we didn't get anything here. It's telling that 200. Yeah, 1 minute. Here in form method, we have to mention this method attribute. This is HTML thing. This is not related to Django. If you, I will show this thing in W3 schools. Yeah, if you observe here, this is a form tag. It's stating action. There it's expecting some URL here, and there we will define our method. This method should be get or post. If you observe here, method equal to post, method equal to get. This syntax is from HTML. Form action is here. If you observe here, action. Sorry, it's action, right? Action. It's my bad. I given actions. Action. I'm giving simply dot here. That means it's not expecting any URL. From which URL we got this form, it's going to send the data to the same URL. I define method equal to post. That should be smaller one. 1 minute. I'll make it as a small post. Yeah. Now I will send this. Username and email, some phone number, some address. Just I'll submit this. It went first main page. Why it went? Actually, we have to handle this thing. If request dot if request dot method equal to post, we have to print that form. Let me execute this one more time. Why it's redirecting to this page? One minute. We missed something here. This is what not I'm expecting, that it should throw an error, but it's redirecting to home page. Why? I don't know. Just let me do this one more time. Yeah. If you observe here, previously I was getting get method. Now I got post method. Let me clear this. I started my server. Just I will go back. Just I will refresh. I'll enter all my data. If you observe here, this time I got get method. Get method. Now I'm entering my data here. Whenever I'm sending data to the server, there should be a post method. I defined that method inside this user data.html form, method equal to post. Default thing is get method. You will get that form directly. But when you are sending this data to the server, you have to define method equal to post. After that, CSRF token is mandatory. Without CSRF token, it won't accept your request. We will discuss this about CSRF token in future classes. I will click on the submit button. It's going to send this data to the server. You just see here. I'll enter on submit. What happened to this? Yeah. Previously we were getting get methods. Now it's printing post method. After that we got some error here. Why? Because we are not handling post method. If you observe here, request it came to this function user function. It's printing request dot method. Inside this request dot method we have post here. If you observe, it's printing post here. That means that's a post request. That is not a get request. So we don't execute this block. We don't send empty form to the user. Instead of that, we need to store this data to the server. Before that, just wait for a minute. Here, to access the data from request, we have one method request to dot data, but yeah, if you observe here, This is the Django official documentation. This is the way if request.method equal to get, we will do something like we will give resources to the user. If request.method equal to post, then we have to deal with the data. Whatever the data is we are getting from the user, we have to deal with the data. Here we will be having some methods to access the data. Just I will print. Okay, this data will be inside request.post. We will see this now. I will enter all required information. One minute. I'll comment this. Just I will print request.post. Yeah, wait for a minute. Just I will return something here. Yeah, if you observe, I got empty form. I will fill this form with the data, and after that, I will send this data to the server. You can show, you can see this data in here. I'm printing request.post, right? Inside this post method, we will get all data, whatever the data we entered here, you will get the data. After that, again, I'm sending empty form to the user. Just we cannot, we will get error otherwise. This view didn't return anything. We got that error previously. So I'm sending empty form. Just see here, when I click this submit button, this data will be hand over to the server. Okay, request.post. Here we will get all our data. After that, I'm sending again empty form to the user. Just see here, I entered. All data is erased. You will think like that erased, but if you see here, after post method, it's printing query dict. Inside this query dict, we have username field. Inside this username field, I entered that username value. Email is prasad514 at gmail.com. Phone number, it's a number, whatever the number I entered. address. I entered Banashankari second stage. This is data is hand over to my server in request to dot post. You will get all this data. From here, you will decide you will store this whether you have to store this data in your database or not. So in simple way, what I will do, I'll create one username variable request to dot post to dot get. See, if you observe here in my forms.py, I defined user underscore name. I'll get my username value inside this user underscore name. After that, we have email from request. Whatever in general, a user will enter all data inside this form. He will click on the submit button. He knows only this much, but backend will get request to this user function. It will go to request dot method equal to post method. Inside this post method, we will extract that data. Whatever the user entered data is there, right? We will extract that data and we will store inside our database. Request dot post dot get. For email, we mentioned this field as a email only, so no problem. We will get our email here. Request dot post dot get phone number. See, this name should match with your forms.py field names. If you are giving here a phone underscore number and you are giving without underscore here, you don't get your phone number. You will get null value there. Just we will see that as well. I'm wantedly making this mistake here. For address, we mentioned field name address only. Now I will print all this information separately. Username, email, phone number. If you have this data inside your views, you can do many things with this data. You can do calculations, or you can do a database save. You can call database and you can save this information in your database. This thing, I think you understand this thing. Whenever you got a request, you have to send some response to that request. Otherwise, it will throw error directly. For that reason, I'm sending empty form. Otherwise, you can send a message, your data is saved successfully, or you can say you can redirect him to other page. We will implement that as well. But as of now, not resubmission. Now I will enter some Prasad is a username and email. Phone number I am giving 123456789. Address I will give same address. Now when I submit this, I got empty form means request is completed successfully. Now I will go to this log section. This is the complete request dot post. I'm printing this one, right? Request dot post. Here I'm printing this request dot post. After that, I'm extracting each field, username, email, phone number, address. I'm printing each field separately. Username Prasad, email is prasad.515@gmail.com. Phone number we got none. Why? Because wantedly I did mistake. Here, if you observe here, key name is phone underscore number. If you did mistake, then you don't get data here. We got address here, like that. Just I'll let me change this and we will try one more time. This empty form I got here. I'm entering my data. After that, I'll submit. If user submit, what will happen? I'm trying to explain that only. Yeah, this time we got phone number as well, 456 789. Like this, you established a connection from user to your server. If you take any web application that may be Amazon, Flipkart, or LinkedIn, anything, they will do same thing for web application. From forms, you will take information to the server. You will get that information inside these views, inside this post method only. You don't get data in get method. In get method, you have to give resources to the user. That may be form, that may be file, that may be information. We don't know that. But get method means we have to pass information to the user. If you observe here, I showed right in, if I go to LinkedIn homepage, I'm getting my all content here, all posts and all other things I'm getting from server. This should be a get method. If you're posting something or posting a job, that will be a post method. You have to understand that different get and post method. Inside post, you will get all your data. From here, you will call to database, and you will make one entry to the database table. We will see that thing in tomorrow. Just I'm giving one task. Just create one new project in Django. After that, try to create one table. Like till now, what we did, just try to do that. Uh, Create PostgreSQL or MySQL. Just combine those things and create one table, and try to create one form and try to get the data, user enter data to the views. I will upload this video to the YouTube now. If you got any doubt, you can revise this video. Just try to do that. If you got any errors, or if you want me to repeat any topic till now, just I will take that session tomorrow. If you face any difficulty, just let me know. We will discuss on that more. Why? Because this is a mandatory thing. If any project, you will be having forms, you will be having databases, you will be having tables. So this is mandatory thing. You can't skip these things. If you want to master in Django, definitely you have to do these things. Just try to create one project. Inside that project, try to create one app and connect with MySQL or PostgreSQL, whatever you want, and just create one table and create one form and try to take input from the user. If you did that, you will be fine enough to learn Django, and you can go for more advanced concept. Tomorrow we will see how to save this data. We got information from user, right? We will save that data to the database, and we will retrieve database. You will retrieve data from database. We will see remaining things tomorrow. We are done with today's sessions. If you have any doubts, let me know. Yeah, thank you, Nani. Just try to do that task. Tomorrow we will review your projects or your task. We will see that tomorrow. I'm hoping you don't have any doubts.